door, that's closer to 10. That's
Okay.
3, but
and these are what you call Class A, right?
Class A.
Okay, cool.
And if he's gonna be full timing it, this is what you're gonna probably want.
Because you want the more room, a little more comfort.
More space. You can shut the curtains and turn the chairs around. But I'm the only sales guy here, so I'm gonna bounce between you and my other customer, and I'll be out here. Okay?
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so response video to the guy who had the questions about this stuff. Because over here in Portland, Oregon, on 82nd Avenue, there's a lot of dealerships, and there's kind of a wholesale area because there's no sales tax here. Okay, so the guy said he'd been marking this one down. There's a dent on the side where he bumped into it for the forklift, and if you're going to be going to remote areas, that's it right there. If you're going to be going to remote areas, you're just going to have to understand you get a few dents and dings. Like he was saying, is if you're going to live in it full time, you kind of want some comfort space. This thing is huge. Okay, I mean, you got a really decently full bathroom and pretty decently full bedroom. One of the things you got to resist the temptation on with something like this is to stuff all the extra nooks and crannies with more shit, because you're getting close to the max on the weight on these things just the way they are. So if you're going to have prepper stuff in here, you might want to start looking at where you can shave some weight. But they are made to have luggage, and this is made to tow a tow-behind vehicle. So in Oregon, I would say something like this, what you're going to get in that $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 range. Now, as far as whether any particular rig is a good deal or not, that varies a lot. Like for me, this one I think is a mid-90s model. I would be doing something about these old style TVs. They weigh a lot, and they suck up a lot of power, so they don't go along real well with the solar upgrade that I do. And then, this is something that was probably, $50,000, $70,000 new, $80,000 new. It's already taken most of its depreciation, so at this stage, you've got maintenance. And here you can see, little things that it's just reality when you're dealing with these things. The engine maintenance on this type of rig isn't as horrible as you think it is, but it's all pretty much done from inside. The doghouse comes off. You work on that stuff. In this price range, you should expect all the appliances to work, and you want to try them out. This being a 94, 33 footer, you get a lot of room inside. The other thing about, I think this is what they call the Class A, because it's not reduced in size all the way in front at the cab, where, like you got the other styles that keep the van front end. With this one, if you get broken glass up front, it's a disaster. On the van front end ones, whether it's a Dodge, a Chevy, or Ford, you still can get Dodge, Chevy, or Ford parts. With these, you're going to be getting RV parts. The give back on this is that you have walk around space and headroom going all the way to the front. And here you can see there's some kind of a chalk hole or something on there. That's not going to destroy your visibility, but it could grow in the future. But that's part of what's going to happen when you're not buying brand new. The bonus is that this is larger than some apartments, okay? And then of course you've got a fridge which also does 12 volt. So what would I look for in something like this? I would look for water damage. This has a little bit of moisture stuff going on up here. It may just say, hey, we got to reseal it. Tearing these things apart and redoing them to deal with a little leak is overkill, and a lot of dealers just, the only way you're going to get them to do it is to pay more money. And then styling on a lot of this stuff. RV styling is what it is, okay? It kind of mirrors the house, whatever was high fashion and home styles on the year that the particular RV was built. But, and then anything in this size range is going to have a big block motor. The big advantage, though, is that in Oregon, you're not paying any sales tax, and the registration isn't a killer, okay? So, you should be able to get by okay. And then a lot of seating, you know, if you're looking at single-digit fuel economy, but a lot of comfortable seating if you're road tripping, and if you're traveling with several people, that's where it starts to get really economical. It's the fact that you could carry 4 people, 5 people, and all of their stuff, and tow an excursion vehicle. And yeah, you're getting 12, 6, 8, 10 miles to the gallon. Maybe you're down in the single digits. Maybe you're at 7 to the gallon. But the thing is, when you start, having the fact that you can split that 4 ways, well, that's like getting 40 to the gallon. Okay, that's where you have to look at it. You put some ads on Craigslist. You're road tripping somewhere. You put some ads on Craigslist for additional customers, for additional passengers, and you tell them, listen, we're traveling in an RV. It's a hell of a lot better than riding a bus. And if you charge somebody what they would normally pay for a bus ticket, and then they're going to have access to a kitchen, maybe bring your own beer type thing, it's a really relaxed way of travel. And when people talk about movie stars traveling by limo, a lot of times in the celebrity stuff that I've worked with, they like to travel in these big RVs. I mean, that's how they're going to be relaxed when they show up to a movie shoot. So that's one of the ways it works. But basically, when you're checking these out, you want to make sure all the stuff works, or at least all the stuff that's important to you. Okay, all the stuff that's important to you needs to work. And then you want to look for major leakage, because a lot of these things do have wooden framing. Newer ones are going to have aluminum framing, maybe some polymers on there. Depends on when it was built and who built it, some of that kind of stuff. But this one, because he says they cut a deal on it, I consider this pretty much ready to roll. I mean, I wouldn't go and do a restoration on it. Personally, I don't like carpet in them. I'd rather just see linoleum front to rear, but they do them with the carpet, And it's big. It's not going to be highly maneuverable, but that's one option. And then for the guy with the Toyota 4x4 truck, he was explaining in in the email how he had the 84 Toyota. He paid $2,500 for it, and then ended up putting another 10 grand into it. They are what they are. You put money into those, and it's an old vehicle, and you just never know. And the thing is, though, once you've done all that work and it's solid and you know what you have, you've got a solid truck that'll last forever. I mean, it's kind of the way it is with those Toyotas. So I would just say, don't give it up. Get your money out of it. And if you put 10 grand into a 20-year-old Toyota truck, and versus putting 30 grand into a brand new Toyota truck, and 3 or 4 years from now, that 10 grand truck's probably still going to be worth most of what you've got there. That $30,000 truck, you're lucky. You're lucky if 5 years down the road, a $30,000 Toyota 4x4. You're really lucky if that thing's still worth 20. It probably went down in half. So the money in fixing up some kind of a classic, whether it's an 80s Toyota 4x4 or a 60s or 70s muscle car, it is what it is. I've seen and heard the same story with people that bought old Mustangs and Camaros. It's just the 80s were the high point for Toyota 4x4s. Late 60s, early 70s were the high point for muscle cars. You get one, you put a bunch of money into it, and it is what it is. And it's actually probably, it'll depreciate, but not as badly as something just straight off brand new, So hopefully I've given some good advice here. I'll do one more video on another RV format just to give my opinion on it.